Video game flash fiction. This is a timed branding game where I will roll a dice and select one of these 16 Atari 2600 cartridges, slot it into the console, play the game within the time, make it a flash fiction story, read it at the end, maybe critique some sauce on it. Let's roll this dice. I have a 4-sided dice. I have at least 4 rows. I'm going to pick the row first with the 4-sided dice. It is a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. From bottom to top, let's get the row and not the column. 2. 1, 2. Well, for today's video game flash fiction game with the time counting down, maybe this should have been part of my intellectual property free games, but we have, what is this? Revenge of the Beefsteak tomatoes. Some cover art. They look like bowls, maybe. Fox did this, it appears. And I know there is the game Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I remember seeing that. There was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes too, and they even riffed on stuff even more. This is Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes, which I'm sure, and I would be shocked if 20th Century Fox owned Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Not sure. Let's hope this game works. Let's see. We don't have to hope. We can find out. I guess we can hope right now because we don't know our destiny. It's out of my hands. These have been tested, and I think I got everything set up. I got powered on. Using the digital version of the thing, the analog version, well, I have it. I use it. And I just want to make sure the experience. Let's turn that off. Let's view this. What? What is this? What? I need this video before me. I'll move this over here. Whoa. Not even certain what I'm seeing. I should have looked at it. Say what kind of controller. I'm going to assume. I can't assume anything. I just got shot. I think I just got killed. Seems like there's some sound. Let me turn it down just a little bit on the mix. I got a joy to put in the joystick. Are there sounds to this game? Uh-oh. I got the timer that fell. I don't know what time it is. Is this going to work? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. I just want a game, man. Okay, so we got tomatoes. Like I'm not moving anything. Seriously, I don't even know. Is that me moving? The little... I'm not controlling this thing. Is it paddles maybe? I don't know. I should have read the cartridge. Let's see. Got a little bit of tragedy here. Does it say using the left joystick? That's Is it my other left? Let's turn this on again. I got a joystick. The joystick. If I'm facing this, left joystick is there. not working. The beefsteak. This is a little bit tragic. Okay, if I don't move a thing. Okay. I am controlling, but it's not responsive at all. The purple thing that looks like a syringe, I think, because if I don't move it, it gets hit. It gets hit. Just test my theory out. For reasons I don't understand. It's just so delayed. Like it's not responsive. Like, holy cow. I'm just going to hold this button down and point. Because if I hold the button down, I shoot. I'm a syringe. Like, what the... And then the beefsteak tomato plants down there shooting seeds. I don't even know. Like, how to write a story on this. I don't... Yeah, it's... I'm a syringe. That's what it looks like. I'm like... And there are these... Like, if I... So, yeah, like... Am I supposed to protect? Like, the beefsteak tomato to me is what's flying around in the sky. Like, I don't even... Beefsteak tomato. Revenge of the beefsteak tomato. So there's already been some sort of altercation previous to this, enough to have a state of revenge, and we are in the revenge mode. I mean, is it supposed to? Whoa, there's like a block up there. Like, what's that block too? I'm totally controlling this, but it's so delayed. I don't think it's the joystick. I can blame the tools. Maybe, some of these games, I have an analog version, but it's harder to stream on the analog version. It doesn't give quite the picture. Although I don't know if sound's really coming through right now. I hope so. It could just be silent in my own voice trying to figure out how am I going to write a story, because that looks... Fudge. I mean, how do I get points? Do I shoot these things down here? Am I I'm starting to... It feels like combat a little bit, and it's... Oh, wait. For some reason... I don't know what the hell. I don't know what I was doing right there. I feel like I was controlling it, but I don't think I was. I haven't scored a point. How do you even score points? What's my mission? I'm a syringe that flies around and shoots things? Or am I a little plane? What am I? And then there's a tomato right there. Like, if it wasn't called Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes, I would not... I suppose it's like a flash fiction story. You rely heavily on the name of the story to get you in and set you up for the scene. And maybe even tell you how the story ends and give you some witty way to connect everything. I don't know how to witty way to do this, though. Can I shoot those plants? Like, are they my enemy? It doesn't seem to. They're just a nuisance. Maybe they're helping me kill the beefsteak. Must be. But whose side are they on? And why can't I shoot a beefsteak tomato that's flying across the space? And what the hell is the whole idea of these, like, ranked, stacked things? How is that going to fit into a story? It's not. It's crazy. These things grow from the ground. Maybe you're a drone. Maybe this is a drone. Okay. How do you work in a tomato, though, that's got revenge and has agency? I'm not, maybe not full. Maybe like it's animal level agency. It's got probably thoughts, Maybe some of them create art. Maybe the beefsteak tomato somehow. I don't know. Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomato. if I wasn't looking at the cover and didn't see a big bowl, a big beefy thing, thinking that it was like supposed to be alive, where else would I be able to go with that? What is a beefsteak tomato? I guess it's a big tomato. I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going to go with what's on the cover. I'm going to put the handle down. I should play this game and think about it. It's because I'm a beefsteak tomato killer. They're getting revenge for what? I wish I knew more about tomatoes. If it wasn't in the title, I mean, that's the that's the thing kind of keying me off right now. Else this would be like, what else would this be if I didn't know? It just did not have the title into the game. It would be Attack of the Orange Saucer. Reminds me of the tomato. Like, what's the yellow thing? I can't go up that high. I only got like this limited space, and the beefsteak tomato, bullets can kill me. Everything can kill me. I'm a drone. And I can't explain what a beefsteak tomato. Hey, did I squat a thing? Did I get 15 points? Okay. This is, I don't know why it's so crazy because I'm not moving it that fast, but I got 15 points. I shot some beefsteak tomatoes, and they have revenge for a reason. If I were doing just off the name alone, right now I would probably having some story where someone ate some beefsteak tomatoes and they made them have some diarrhea for reasons. Maybe they ate too many and the sauce just didn't agree with them. But what I am seeing on the screen is not about someone eating beefsteak tomatoes. Revenge of the beefsteak tomatoes. What if it was a story? I don't know. I'm lost. This is challenging. Let's go ahead and let's make let's not assume the name. Let's reread it. It's too bad. I think it's Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. We're gonna just go from memory, and if I'm wrong, then I'll have a record of how I revenge of the beef steak. I think it's one word. Tomatoes. _ tomatoes. Here we go. Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. So I have a file. That's a thing. Maybe I'll have a word. I'm glad I gave myself more time today because I gotta wait. Like, why? Revenge of the... Maybe it's beefsteak. Maybe you do have a drone. I don't know what the shooting is. I don't know why your plants would move back and forth. Maybe to protect them. It could be the farmer who grows beefsteak tomatoes hates your drone. And that's what's flying around. And it's not necessarily the ground moving. It's just from the perspective of the drone. I don't know. That could definitely be a fence, though. So I'm seeing this scene as this person on a fence. Has a fence. They're growing tomatoes. You have a drone, and the drone just bugs the person. And so they're throwing the tomatoes at the drone. I'm not sure what's being shot up from the tomatoes on the ground. Seeds, if I were going off and assuming these tomatoes. And I'm just, I've never, there, as far as I know, was never a movie, Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. I always thought, I can't remember the name of the second Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but I'm sure this was totally inspired by Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. But I don't have a good enough memory of even that movie because I've seen it literally once and then twice maybe. But that was fucking many years ago, and back when the internet didn't exist. I can say that out loud. Now this generation will be able to say back before AI existed. And I suppose I will too. A generation. Shout out to Xers. Yeah, that's it. Like, it's a drone. In the sky. Now, do I want to go second, first, or third? I guess I'm the role of the owner of just types of tomatoes I don't know. And I almost want to look up look up tomatoes. I'm gonna look up tomatoes. Yeah. Clear my throat again because that just sounds great. Oh, that was six-sided dice right here. So we gotta have two people. Let's roll for genders. 1, 2 female, 3, 4 male, 5, 6 day. Female, first one. Second one of they. So the first one's flying the drone. So she's flying the drone. Because I guess they're technically the antagonist because they're the ones that are controlling the thing that's moving about the screen. I will attempt Zelda. Well, I haven't used that type. Zelda's drone hovers over her prized. What kind of tomatoes? Like, I don't know what's coming up from the ground yet. Like, that's a little awkward to me. I'm sure birds eat tomatoes. I mean, birds, they're seeds. I don't know. Types, search and return. Types of tomatoes. Well, beefsteak. Meaty beefsteak for slicing. Okay. What's the most prized? Wow, beefsteak are huge. Beefsteak are up to 3 pounds. Excuse me. Yeah, maybe no one wants the beefsteak tomatoes. They just hate the drones. And maybe they have the fencing that at least I think beef tomato best. Sun gold cherry tomatoes are widely. Let's do that, man. It's cherry tomato land. Sun gold cherry tomatoes. Her prize, sun gold. I mean, would it be capitalized? Would it be sun gold? Cherry tomatoes. Is it tomatoes with an E or tomato? I mean, I know. My mind gets overwhelmed these days. tomatoes, 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 tomatoes. Let's have some Sun Gold, her prized Zelda's. One last year's. Maybe, maybe there was all these things. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in wineries, they have air guns shoot, scatter birds from eating the grapes. Zolder's drone hovers over her prize, Zelda's cherry tomatoes. That won last year's prize of something. Prize of something. Prize of. Like a harvest festival prize, but something significant. It's not like the green thumb and you win a green thumb. I gotta think of something that's fun. More fun than Harvest Festival, which is neat. It's cool to reminisce, but let's at least give it a cool name. Best vegetable. Vegetable? I don't even know how to spell vegetable. I'm trying though. Still trying to do the human thing. Attempting. Till I die. Because then I won't be able to do the human thing. I always put the I. Probably because people go like veggie instead of veg. Vegetable. The best vegetable of I don't know. I know all the farms I ever knew are probably now housing developments. Very likely. And it's not like I grew up in a place where they had a grange or harvest festivals that were about bringing food, judging. If I were to throw out a state, it'd be all BS, but whatever. Let's throw one out, and I can always get it on the edit. The best vegetable of Ohio. Count of Ohio. The best vegetable of Ohio. That seems significant. I don't know if Ohio is the right state. Maybe, like I'm familiar, but Wisconsin's more cattle that I've experienced at least. And if they're growing anything to be harvested by somebody else, it's for their cattle or for their livestock. And my limited experience of farmers outside of where I grew up, I worked on a farm, so I have experience. We were not. We harvested things like asparagus, onions, cabbage, irrigated those things too. So, best vegetable of Ohio. And we negotiated and sold her crop. Sold her entire crop. And what when you invest in someone's crop next season, it's the futures market. I can't remember. It's the market I'm trying to think of. I think I first learned from watching Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. My first exposure to Wall Street. And then the movie Wall Street shows me further, but that's not this video game right here. But I'm trying to think of, it's local. They're not going to get into the futures market. Sold their entire crop the last day of the harvest festival. I'm going to do the best vegetable of the Ohio Harvest Festival. Harvest Festival. And sold her entire crop the last day of the festival. Okay, so let's play the game just a little bit more. Well, I'll throw my quote fingers. Let's play the game a little bit more. I'm just going to shoot the button, and I got lucky. I got 15 points. So it's like, I don't know the mechanics of this thing. I'm not quite... Like, it reads, if I were to go like this, it will complete every button push, but for some reason in this game today, it's lagging. I understand it may be different with the analog one. I've never had a game screw up with this digital interface. It's just more convenient. And if there's sound plays. And it's better for the whole, in my opinion, to stream. Okay, so I'm doing rapid. This is my defense. My drone defense. Ooh, hey, see, I got it. I didn't get the beefsteak. Your drone. So Zelda drone hovers over her prize Zelda Sun Gold cherry tomatoes that won last year's Best Vegetable of Ohio Harvest Festival and she sold. The last day of the festival, she sold her entire crop. So then I can write back. So we'll continue on period. The last day of the festival. The last day of the festival. Let's just make noise with my mouth and maybe words will come out of my fingers. Doesn't work that way. The last day of the festival, she sold her crop. She sold her crop of tomatoes. Even the heirloom, even her new strain of beefsteak tomatoes. Oh yeah. She sold her crop of tomatoes. That included... Now, I don't like the even her. I mean, that's just like even. That's not a good word. The last day of the festival, she sold her crop of tomatoes. She sold her crop of tomatoes. That included her new strain of beefsteak tomatoes. So we'll call this person who's living next to him. I don't know. Who is living next to them? It's got to be another farmer because they're sharing a fence, and the farmer's going to have beefsteak tomatoes, and their name's going to be... Tomato. Don't be growing my tomato. Said, are we doing past tense? I should do past tense. That way I can just, if I need to go past, I can just still be in the past tense. Don't have that weird, like, present tense shifting to past tense, and then someone's going to be like, hey, you're time shifting. It's weird. And they could be right. They could be wrong. Zelda's drone hovered over, hovers, over, hovers over, hovered above. How about above? Hovered above, reprised Zelda's gold cherry tomato, sun gold cherry tomatoes that won last year's best vegetable of the Ohio Harvest Festival. The last day of that festival, she sold her entire crop of tomatoes that included a new strain of beefsteak tomatoes. Don't be growing my tomatoes, said Channel. I don't, man, names. Too many. I don't know. So few that I use. Ponce. Let's make a name. I like Ponce. Ponce, someone's got to be named Ponce. Simples. Like, that's just, I mean, yeah. I hope someone is named Ponce. I'd be down, you know. Now I want to create a role-playing character and name it Ponce. Anyway, enough about the name. I got to think about the beefsteak, the revenge of the beefsteak tomatoes. And as you see above, there's a fence, I'm going to say, and there's those tomatoes. And then the drone above, like those tomatoes are small, so the ones coming across, the beefsteak-sized ones, I think they'll fit well within the story at least. I'll play it here in a moment. I want to at least get Ponce's actions and what's the conflict. What? 57 minutes left. I think I can write that story in 57 minutes. Don't be growing my tomatoes, said Ponce. Wow. In the parking lot. Yes. We gotta have a confrontation in the parking lot, right? It's in the parking lot while they were hauling away. While they were packing their stand and left. The farmers packed and hauled away their stands and leftover tomatoes, corn, and green peppers and peppers. Just say peppers. It's almost changed. The next day after the festival, yeah, I mean, what happens the next day after the festival, I'm uncertain. The next day after the festival is when... the next day after the festival was Ponce a bucket rotten beefsteak tomatoes over Zelda's fence onto her prized cherry tomatoes. The next day, Zelda, I almost assembled, programmed, and launched a drone to protect her from her to record and secure her tomatoes. Now, that's a paragraph to be had. I suppose I got to touch upon the things that make it a conflict. The next Zelda day assembled, programmed, and launched a drone to record and secure her tomatoes. Now I need, like, the first tomato that threw over. No, it's going to be the end. Your drone's loud and watching me. Said a red-faced, a blood-red face. Ponce. Standing next to the fence between their tomato fields. Watching her assholes. Watching over my prizes and my profit. She'd be more civilized than I would. Zelda's drone hovered above her prize, Zelda's sun gold cherry tomatoes that won last year's best vegetable. The next day, Zelda assembled, programmed, and launched a drone to record and secure her tomatoes. Your drone's loud and watching me, said the blood-faced Ponce, blood-red face, the blood-red face, Ponce, standing next to the fence between their tomato fields, watching over my prize and profit. Said, what's... I forgot Zelda. Zelda, said Zelda. Wearing a mind cap. Controlling the drone to hover over her and fire a BB, like I don't, that's the size, a BB gun, a BB sized shot at the foot of the fence. At the foot of the fence. She then thought a loop And the drone looped and dove and hovered over her tomatoes. Ponce stomped away, stomped dust. From the fence. And between the rows of his beefsteak tomatoes, he shuffled dust to a tomato half rotten on the ground. And threw it at the drone. Alright, let's play some game. Alright, so now we at least have a background and a story. So let's how's this gonna end? I don't know how this is gonna end. I think I got words. I can read them aloud and won't sound terrible. Well, it'll be okay. Maybe not memorable. Hopefully forgettable if it's bad. Most bad things are forgettable. Terrible things are hard to forget. I think so. There's I'm still alive. I've only I think they're gonna hit the drone. I think the drone's gonna be destroyed. But then what happens afterwards? Do they become friends? I should have them become friends. Maybe. Or negotiate. They're gonna negotiate. Let's not end this in like some weird hate situation. I'll learn to forgive. Escalating action, though. Sorry for the burps, but coffee water does that. Also had some oatmeal this morning, too. And, well, those two things together, guess what? Makes burps for me. They taste like oatmeal and coffee, so they're not unpleasant. They don't give up, anyway, TMI, right? But you got to know the human condition. The human condition right now, I guess this reminds me of drones because the one time I tried to fly a drone, I flew it like this. Like the reaction right now to this game, it could be because it downloaded it digitally wrong and it's timed out and it's not analog and blah, blah, blah. Good craftsman always blames the tools. God damn it, my ruler is not straight. Damn it, it did not, what's a good another gun? It didn't sharpen itself. You gotta blame the tool on that one. Your saw forgot to measure twice before cutting once. Yes, measure twice, cut once. Probably one of the best rules I ever learned. I don't think I learned that in shop in high school. I learned that from my dad while I was working in the garage, having had measured once and cut once too many times. Repeated by about every single person I've met that actually had some experience in cutting a thing with a saw. Circular saw. I've done bandsaw, but we did not have a bandsaw at the house. We did have a circular saw at the house, and that was kind of fun using a circular saw. I gotta say, not many kids in the neighborhood had a circular saw. Not that I was manning the circular saw enough, but if I wanted to cut some leftover 2x4, I certainly was capable of that. And that's the stand type, not the hand circular saw. I think so. It's a hand. It's not like a sawzall or something like that. Carpenter. Anyway, let's focus on Beefsteak because we're building drones. We're not building things from wood and reminiscing too much, but you get inspiration from experience. And I grew up around having a tomato plant as well and having a small garden, so I have an understanding of at least how tomatoes grow and what it is like to go pick tomatoes, to go look for bugs on tomatoes, to make sure you harvest the tomatoes, to have tomatoes fall off and half rot. Experiences that at the time seemed meaningless, but now they're helping you write a better story. You can only write what you know. Everything else is just a fictional lie. As a fiction writer, that's good. As a nonfiction person, it could lead to identity crises and data conflicts. Just programmed machines. Ponce stomped dust away from the fence, and between the rows of his beefsteak tomatoes, he shuffled dust to a tomato half rotten on the ground and threw it at the drone. Threw the dust to a half rotten tomato. I gotta make sure my adjectives and all those things. Half rotten tomato on the ground and threw it at the drone. He stood smiling, seeing the tomato smash a propeller of the drone, and it wobble, spin, and crash. I mean, I've experienced that. It was a small drone. I think I won it in a contest at a hackathon. And yeah, I mean, it was really small, but if it hit the blade, all of a sudden wobble, then at least that's my memory of it. We'll use that experience in this story. Fictionalize it like I know. He stood smile singing. He stood smiling. He stood smile singing. I stood smile singing. He stood and smiled. He stood and grinned. Grinned is more mischievous. He stood and grinned. While the tomato flew over the fence and over Zelda's head and smashed the propeller blade of the drone. I love that. He nodded as the drone wobbled, flew in circles, and plummeted to the ground. Ponce stomped dust away from the fence, and between the rows of his best tomatoes, he shuffled dust to a half-rotten tomato on the ground and threw it. I probably should put a D there, so when I read this aloud, I'll know it's not grown. Correct it now, too. Why not? I see it. And threw it. And threw it. This verb, threw it. He stood and grinned while the tomato flew over the fence and over Zelda's head and smashed the propeller blade of the drone. He nodded as the drone wobbled and flew in circles and plummeted to the ground. Zelda launched another drone and shot a BB at Ponce's butt. Ponce threw tomato after tomato. Ponce grabbed my hand, pulled 2 tomatoes. Ponce pulled 2 tomatoes. Ponce pulled 2 tomatoes. Ponce pulled 2 tomatoes. Ponce pulled 2 tomatoes from, can I say that sentence again? 2 beefsteak tomatoes. We gotta have, is it beef? Like beef? Or I got my beefsteak tomatoes. Ponce pulled 2 beefsteak tomatoes from plants. Too ripe beefsteak tomatoes from plants. From their plants. Yes. The tomatoes flew past the drone and over into the Johnson's yard. All right, so how's this going to end? I want to end peacefully, and how that's going to end. We can play the game. I got 38 minutes left. Now I just got to think of how this ends. I've got the action. I've got the conflict. I got the environment, I think. They ran out of drones. We got the little BB shooting drone. They're shooting the beefsteak tomatoes. I don't understand. Like, I don't. Yeah, I don't even know what that little block thing above is supposed to. What's its purpose? Why does it exist? It just doesn't make sense to me. Let's go ahead and reset this game. So how's it going to stop? What's going to de-escalate this thing? Maybe there's going to be a negotiation. Maybe there'll be a truce. Maybe. There's got to be a peaceful solution to this conflict. I got to think of it. That's a hard story. It's easy to have dystopia. Is so easy. Everyone imagines it. Everyone's got their own version of it, and they're probably pretty much aligned. Now, who causes the dystopia? I think it's always up to argument, or what causes it, but it's always the same. We're controlled. And we are right now. Let's not bullshit ourselves. So, let's not pretend. We have freedom allotted to us for now. Humans will be our destruction and not the AI we create. But let's get off of that. I want to get this a peaceful revolution. I guess I have to go there. I got to think of peace. How is this going to be resolved peacefully? How are Ponce and Zelda they lose all their crop, I guess. And yeah, I mean, sometimes I guess you can't resolve stupid. And Ponce, in this instance, would waste their entire farm to throw beefsteak tomatoes at their heirloom plants. Zelda launched another drone and shot a BB at Ponce's butt. The BB stung his butt. Ponce's butt. I gotta go name, not gender. The BB stung Ponce's butt. Get away. I'm calling the police. No. Zella said, calling the police. If you throw another tomato, calling the police. Ponce rubs his butt. Not gonna do that. Do it. Shot me. You attacked first. I mean, realistically though, like, let's think about beefsteak tomatoes. Like, they would not be blown up by BB. That's the point of what I understand the purpose of the beefsteak tomato. They slice well and they're meaty. You know, beefsteak, at least to the definition of the search and return engine. And now, yes, I mean, I've probably had beefsteak tomato before. I'm more familiar with golden cherry tomatoes. I think heirlooms, as far as a pop culture name for tomatoes. Zelda lowers a drone and shoots a tomato, so I can't have it. In the Johnson yard, a tomato falls toward her prized plant, her prized golden tomatoes. She guides her drone and hits the tomato from the path of her plant. The tomato flew past the drone and over and into the Johnson yard. The tomato fell toward her. Another tomato, the other tomato, the other tomato fell toward her prized golden tomato. She guided her drone and hit the tomato. Let's make this a paragraph. Guided her drone and hit the tomato from the path of her plant. I mean, how's this? I mean, it's after harvest though. So like, there wouldn't be any tomatoes necessarily. It'd have to be the next year. The previous year. The next season. The next season, not the next day. Early the next season. when Zelda's beefsteak tomatoes began ripened. Ponce threw a bucket of rotten beefsteak over Zelda's. Okay. Over the fence they shared with Zelda. The tomatoes landed on, there we go, the rotten tomatoes. What kind of tomatoes? They're rotten. Okay, so this is the season after. That makes more sense. Why would they do it the next day? Everything's harvested. If you throw another tomato, call the police. Ponce rubbed his butt. Zelda guided her tomatoes and hit the tomato from the path of her plant. Maybe this could be a tell. Like, Ponce grabbed another tomato and held it in his hand, peering at Zelda. Oh, man. How to make this end without violence. You start with violence and it's easy to keep on going. It's not like they can sell the house. They're going to have some kumbaya moment where they come together and they drop all love, because that just never happens. People are deep inside programmed right now just to feel like gods of their own kingdom. All in their mind. Ponce grabbed another tomato and held it in his hand, peering at Zelda. I don't know. Zelda calls the police. Like, they both get arrested. For assault and battery. Peering at Zelda. I mean, I guess technically he would still have the stuff, right? It just doesn't end well. I got 26 minutes to figure out this ending, and I could play the game. Let's play the game. Reset the game. Like how... I mean, I could just hide out right here. Oh, I guess the tomato could kill me. Although I don't ever really see the tomato go that low. Like at this level. I could literally hide right here. I guess revenge never pays. He sneers and throws tomato after tomato over the fence. Many of the tomatoes fly over Zelda's garden into their neighbor's yard. Her neighbor's, her other neighbor's, her other neighbor's yard of grass. Ponce cackles, laughs when a tomato crushes golden tomato plant. He shouts and talks while Zelda steps back on the porch and watches. As the last beefsteak tomato is pulled from Ponce's garden, Zelda says, "You want to..." Zelda grabs a bucket and walks along the rows after. And thrown and landed on her garden. Zelda grabbed a bucket and walked along the rows, picking up the bruised but whole thick beefsteak tomatoes. For the next days, Zelda made and canned marinara sauce with those tomatoes. And come time of the harvest festival, she presented her tomato sauce and also won best vegetable sauce of the year. On the stage, she thanked Ponce, supplying the tomatoes. Well, it ended somehow. I don't know, with peace. The sad thing is, in many people's utopia, peace doesn't exist, only war. So it's kind of hard to compete with whose utopia wins out. I think some people in our lives right now just love killing and hating other people. They actually get joy from it. Some of these are leaders of nations, not just tomato farmers. Well, let's go ahead and read this story. Maybe we can end on a happier note. I'll try to think of some inspirational words to roll out once I read this aloud, and make sure I have some sort of bookmark to be able to get to this spot. Maybe this will be a happy story. Let's read this aloud. For today's video game flash fiction story, inspired by, I believe the name is Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. Zelda's drone hovered over her prize Zelda's Sun Gold cherry tomatoes that won last year's Best Vegetable of Ohio Harvest Festival. The last day of that festival, she sold her crop of tomatoes that included her new strain of beefsteak tomatoes. Don't be growing my tomatoes, said Pons in the parking lot while the farmers packed and hauled their stands on leftover tomatoes, corn, and peppers to cars. Early next season, when Zelda's beefsteak tomatoes ripened, Pons threw a bucket of rotten beefsteak tomatoes over the fence they shared with Zelda. The rotten tomatoes landed on her prized tomatoes. The next day, Zelda assembled, programmed, and launched a drone to record and secure her tomatoes. Your drone's loud and watching me, said a blood-faced Ponce, standing next to the fence between their tomato fields. Watching over my prize and my profit, said Zelda, wearing a mind cap, controlling the drone to hover over her and fire a BB-sized tomato at the foot of the fence. She then thought a loop, and the drone looped and dove and hovered over her cherry tomatoes. Ponce stomped dust away from the fence and between the rows of his beefsteak tomatoes. He shuffled dust to a half-rotten tomato and on the ground and threw it at a drone. He stood and grinned while the tomato flew over the fence and over Zelda's head and smashed a propeller blade of the drone. He nodded as the drone wobbled and flew in circles and plummeted to the ground. Zelda launched another drone and shot a BB at Ponce's butt. The BB stung Ponce's butt. Zelda said, "If I throw another tomato, police, I'll call one." Ponce rubbed his butt. "Do it. You shot me." Ponce pulled 2 ripe beefsteak tomatoes from their plants and threw them over the fence. The tomato flew past the drone and over and into the Johnson's yard. The other tomato fell toward Zelda's prized golden tomatoes. Zelda guided her drone and hit the tomato from the path of her plant. Ponce grabbed another tomato and hit in his hand and peered at Zelda. He sneered and threw the tomato after tomato over the fence. Many of them flew over Zelda's house and into the Johnson's yard of grass. Ponce laughed when the tomato crushed a golden plant. He shouted and talked mumbles while Zelda stepped on her porch and watched. After the last beefsteak tomato was pulled from Ponce's garden and thrown and landed on Zelda's garden, Zelda grabbed a bucket and walked along the rows, picking up the beefsteak tomatoes, only bruised and not broke. For the next day, Zelda made and canned sauce with the tomatoes. And come time of the harvest festival, she presented her tomato sauce and won Best Vegetable Sauce that year. On the stage, she thanked Pot for his supply of tomatoes. I read a lot of the first. There was some mistakes with tense at the end that I had to read over, and the words weren't as good. It kind of happens that way when you start writing a story, especially under a time limit, and you read repetitively to find the story, and you correct things along the way, and then you get near the end, and time's crunching, and you just don't spend much time editing. There will be a lot of time editing this, though. During the future, this may appear in a book, and that book will look like this right here, with the front cover like this right here. Won't look like it, but it'll be named similar, I should say. I'll think of a different cover. Like I'm thinking of a cover now for my next book called IP Free, which I have all the stories. I'm just heavily editing them, repetitively reading them aloud, looking at them and analyzing them for the words as they flow, and also recording it like this. So write a story inspired by by the video game of Atari of the same name. And I do save this transcript too for these words that I spoke aloud or the thoughts that I had to get to this story. And hopefully give a little bit of information of how it was created. Maybe train the machine to do the same, find a little humanity if no humans read this. And, well, I'm going to leave looking at this video game for this Flash Fiction Day story. And I suppose try to find peaceful ways to resolve a conflict other than shooting or throwing a thing. I think we could all try to do a little better at that. Look in the mirror. You're responsible for it too.